What's up, everyone? It's Mark Pruitt from the New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal. Today, we have an awesome episode. We have an iconic artist. She is known for legendary music. She is known for electrifying live performances, a 4-decade-long career in metal. Her name is already etched in the walls of Metal Valhalla. I am excited to welcome the Metal Queen herself. Doro is with us today in all her majesty. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, man. These nice words. Oh God, that's too much for me. And it's an honor to be on your show, and it's awesome. And yes,
Okay,
wow.
we'll keep it real here. I promise we won't go too real to where I make you cry. This is a happy interview.
Good. But nice feedback is always so nice. It's like, like yeah, I always try to give out, good energy, and then when it makes people happy, and now you make me so happy, and it's all good. It's
Uh,
all good.
that's a great thing about your career is there's this talent that you have that you share with everyone, but also you do things to give back to the community. And I think that, you don't do that for show, you don't do that for points, you just do that because that's something that's close to your heart. So that's an awesome thing if people didn't know that about the causes that you support and the things that you do behind the scenes to just be a good human, that's
Yeah.
awesome stuff.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Yeah, yeah. But I want to do music since I was 3 years old. And then when I was 15, 16, I had my first band. And then I thought, man, I want to do it for the rest of my life, making people happy, you know, giving them power and energy and good feeling for the heart.
So that brings up an interesting question. When you were getting started, was there a moment that you realized, like, wait a minute, like I've got something here, like your voice, your passion. Can you recall that moment, or when you discovered that you kind of have this superpower?
Actually, yeah, when we had our first concerts, our first gigs in the very early 80s, then people were headbanging like crazy, and I always got their sweaty hair in my face, and it was a greatest feeling. I loved it, and everybody was like sweating so much and so happy. And then I thought, man, there must be some good chemistry between us. And I always felt I loved the fans more than anything else in this world. Maybe my mom and dad, but the fans, they were like more important to me than my best friends. We always had a deep connection, and I felt it from the very first gigs that there was like great chemistry, and that it was deep and magical, and then I had like a little bit more experience. I had some other bands. My first band was called Snakebite, then Beast, then Attack, and then Warlock. And then Warlock, there was right time, right place when
Yeah.
metal became, bigger and huge. And then many more metal heads and metal bands and metal fans. And that was a whole movement. It was so nice to be a witness of that time and to
Yeah.
to do it, to
Yeah.
be on stage and be part of it and make people like really feel good, and I felt like, yeah, the first couple of gigs, I felt there was something really special, unexplainable but special, and it was like a deep connection. I felt like, we're all family, we're like brothers and sisters, we're really close, and
I
that
I was
stayed
there
till
back
today.
in the day. I mean, I remember seeing it for the first time, and I remember that's that's it. And here I am so many years later, and metal is my family, and I'm very happy with that. Here's a follow-up question. Um, when you're writing music or for you as an individual when you were coming up, where does the music come from? I always like asking these questions of artists. And artists think of it sort of in a different way. So for you, where does the music come from?
You mean when I write new songs or a new
Correct.
record?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, I tell you, I think the best songs, they come out they shoot out. They are like, definitely coming out of your gut, your heart, your soul. And when it just pops out, that's, I think, the best part. When you sit down and want to write a song, I think that never has like the intensity or the depth. I think when it just comes out, sometimes ideas that come out when I fall asleep, like just before I fall asleep, then, I have these great ideas or melodies or lyrics. Usually I think I'm pretty good with choruses, like melody
Yep, yep.
and lyrics. They are like they're coming out right away, like the same time. And then you have to maybe fiddle around a little bit with it. But the basic idea, if that comes out and it's like great, and then I can really feel it with my whole body. When I feel there's an idea which has some magic, then the whole body is like, like I can't go back to sleep anymore. My heart is pumping, I feel all excited. I have to get up, record it immediately on my cell phone. Usually in the 80s, I did it on my Walkman. But
Yep.
when it comes out really fast, I think that's a good sign. There's something to be said that it's like maybe, meaningful when there's this urgency behind it. And then I sing it on my cell phone, and then I go to maybe my guitar player, or I go to my best friend. Like I have one person I always like to work with. Andreas Brun is his name. He's the ex-guitar player of
Mhm.
Sisters of Mercy.
Yep.
And when I have some ideas, I always like send it to him. And then he think, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And when he like, like catches on, and then we do stuff together and we finish it. And that's actually but the best part is when it comes out totally innocent, like shooting out. And that's,
The,
I think, there's something maybe magical. Yeah.
the best answer that I have been given is absolutely in alignment with what you've said. The artists who are successful say, I'm just a vessel. Like the stuff just comes to me and I'm just the antenna that's just passing it along. So,
Yes.
that's a cool feeling to think that
Yes.
something is speaking through you in the universe and you're the lucky one who gets this gift. So, as you were coming up and as you were starting out in bands, it's a two-part question. My first question is, what were some of the metal rock influences that you have in your history? What bands did you look up to?
Actually, oh, all kinds of bands. And here's the man. That was my best friend, Lemmy.
Lemmy, yep,
Lemmy, Motorhead, Judas Priest. I was a big Judas Priest fan. Uh, except Saxon, Venom,
eh,
Trust. Trust. I liked a band of from France, and
yep.
I liked their French records much more than the English versions. The French one, I think that was so cool. Um, Raven, yeah, all kinds of great bands, and yeah, and then and Ronnie James Dio, he
Of
was
course.
one of my favorite singers. Oh yeah, yeah, I see your t-shirt, cool. And my very first concert was actually Whitesnake and David Coverdale. Man,
Oh,
that blew me away. It was so cool. So David Coverdale, Rob Halford, Ronnie James Dio, Lemmy, yeah, all these great singers.
so
Robert Plant,
so here's the second
etc.
part to the question. All of those are amazing influences, and those are really the pillars of metal and rock and roll. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm influenced by a lot of music. You mentioned the guitar player for Sisters of Mercy. I love bands like that. I grew up in that time. So maybe not in the rock and metal world. What were some influences to you that weren't in that realm? Other types of music that you listen to? Maybe a guilty pleasure. Like, look, I'm a metal guy, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this in a metal show, but like the band Aha. I love the band Aha
Yeah.
from Norway, right? They make great music and they have for so long. I don't care what anybody thinks. Say what you want. But so are there any bands like that that influenced you?
Oh, oh yes, oh yes. because when I grew up, there was no metal, and my first time that I really, really fell in love with music, it was when I was 3 years old, and it was Little Richard, and the song was Lucille.
Very nice.
Wow, wow, I was like blown away. And when I was 3 years old, I could just like, handle my little record player every day, 100 times that song. And then I knew I wanted to become a singer. I want to do that. It was so much energy. And then I grew up in the glam rock times
Hmm.
with Sweet, Slate, T-Rex. Oh yeah, Mark Bolan, Alice Cooper, Susie
Oh yeah.
Quatro.
Yeah.
And Mark Bolan, he was like one of I loved him. And T-Rex, I think they weren't so huge in America, right? In England or in Europe, I don't know, like Sweet Slate, T-Rex, I don't know,
Slade got a
a
little bit of play here.
little bit, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, all the cover versions of Slate, they made it then huge, but I
Correct.
think
Yes.
they had great songs. Yeah, and actually, yeah, T-Rex, that was one of my all-time favorite band. And Pink Floyd. I love David Gilmour. I love Pink Floyd. I'm a big fan of like Etta James. Like I think she's one of the greatest singers of all times. Of course, it's not metal, but it's so powerful. And yeah,
We could do a whole other show on jazz influences. You and I could probably go back and forth because I went through a phase of Blue Note jazz, and there's such a huge and deep catalog of great music, and a lot of metal artists were influenced by that. So that's very
yes,
cool.
holy Nutri. I heard like for example Lemmy of Motorhead. He always said like um, Chuck Berry and Little Richard.
Hmm.
He was very much influenced by them, and yeah, yeah. But but when it's good energy, when it's powerful, and then later on, yeah, when metal came about, then of course I
Yeah.
want to become a metalhead, and yeah, and we played many times like the first gigs with Metallica in Europe
Yep.
when they were like just like yeah, when they were a very young new band, when the first album came out, Kill 'Em All, there was one time one promoter called us from Belgium or the Netherlands, one of I think Netherlands, and he said, "Hey, you guys want to play? I have this club and stuff." And there was one band they're not coming to play. I think later on I found out it was Twisted Sister, but I didn't know
Uh-huh.
time. And I said, "You guys want to play this gig in 2 weeks?" And we said, "Yes." And he said, "There's another band from America, from San Francisco." And we said, "Oh, that's cool." So we played this gig. It was a small club, maybe 400, 500 people, all going crazy. It was great. It was like so much stage diving and headbanging, and it was awesome. And then we said, "Hey, let's check out this band from the States." And it was Metallica. That was the first time that I've seen them. And we talked, and I met Cliff Burton, the great bass player. He was such a cool guy. So that was like just the beginning when metal became big,
Yep.
and it was awesome. So, and yeah, and then my first big tour was with my favorite band, Judas Priest, in
Judas Priest. Yep.
1986. And my second tour was with Wasp in England, and my third tour was with the legendary Ronnie James Dio. So I tell you, it was unbelievable. And then we took it from there, the tour with Saxon and Motorhead and Scorpions and Megadeth in the States. It was pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
Scorpions was easily the first band that got me into rock and roll. Metal wasn't a thing yet, but Animal Magnetism was the first Scorpions record that I ever heard, and it blew my mind. And then, of course, Love at First Sting came out, and all hell broke loose from there. So, yeah, that's wow, what a resume. So, to that end, you talk about the tours. You've been very fortunate enough to sort of travel the world and have all of these experiences. And I'm just curious, do you have a favorite city that you've been to that you like to come back to, where the fans are just extra, or the city is great? Tell me about that.
Actually, yeah, actually, I must say, I was living 25 years in New York,
Yeah.
and I love New York. It was the first time that I went to New York in 1986. I could do a little promotion tour for 3 days. And after 2 days, I said, I want to stay. I want to stay. So I stayed. And then I was living in Manhattan. And then one one time I couldn't go back to my apartment. I was living in Battery Park City. That was when the World
Mhm.
Trade Centers got attacked, and I
Yep.
couldn't go back in because everything was, everybody said, man, all the other buildings, they might collapse. So I went to Long Beach, Long Island, New York, and that was great. I was living there, and then 2 times in a row there was a big hurricane coming. First one was Hurricane Irene, and
Yep.
1 year later, Hurricane Sandy. So I thought, oh, and everything was destroyed. So 3 times I lost all my stuff, everything. And then I went to Florida. So now I'm in Florida and I love it there, but I still miss New York. I still love New York so much. And, so I think New York, that's one of my favorite cities. And one of my favorite countries to play is actually Brazil.
Oh yeah.
Brazil,
Mhm.
they live for metal. They're so diehard metalheads.
Absolutely.
And when we play there, man, there's like I was just playing this big festival, I think Bangers Open Air, and I think there were 200,000 people there. It was
Jeez.
unbelievable. And I played one time Rock in Rio. That was unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah, Sao Paulo, that's always, great. So, but I tell you, it doesn't matter where, if like a big festival or a small club, it's all good. I love it all the same. When I can make people happy, it doesn't mean that it needs to be in front of a big crowd. It can be just a couple of people in a club. When I see like they love it, then it's cool. So every gig is a great gig, and I
Well,
treat like it could
do
be my.
don't forget the West Coast loves you because I'm West Coast. I'm a native Californian, but I love New York too. Don't get me wrong. New York's a great town. I've been to some great events there, but don't forget the West Coast loves metal and we love Doro. So
Oh, I
don't
tell you, when we finished our album Triumph and Agony with like All We Are and all these great songs on it, actually I went to California for the first time and we were shooting this video for All We Are in
no.
the LA River Basin where Terminator 2 was filmed.
Yes.
And then I told everybody I want to move there. And then all my New York connections, my producer, he lived in New York, and he said, no, man, you can't. And I said, I love it there so much. So I recorded a couple of records in LA, one with Gene Simmons,
Yep.
and we did great videos there. And so I must say, LA was pretty great. It
Well,
was
come
so
on. We have the Lemmy statue.
exactly. And I did my very first duet in my life. I did it with Lemmy in LA. We did actually 2 songs, Love Me Forever, the
Yep.
Motörhead.
Yep.
Then one song, Lemmy, he played it for me on his acoustic guitar. He wrote it. It was called Alone Again. And then we said, hey, let's do both. So we did both in LA. And my last duet I did with Lemmy, that was called It Still Hurts. We did it in LA as well. So I'm like, I feel like, yeah,
Okay.
California is like,
LA can be your second home. We'll allow it. We
yeah,
accept you anytime you want to come.
please,
Just no
please
problem.
do. Yeah, I actually one time I stayed almost a whole year when Gene Simmons was
Oh
producing
yeah.
our, and we did it in the Fortress studio where Kiss recorded Hot in the Shade
Yeah.
with Tommy Thayer. He was
Yeah.
playing guitar, he was the co-producer, and Pat Reagan, he was the engineer. And it was a very nice studio. It was small but had a great vibe. So yeah. And oh, to tell you, I was staying in the Mondrian Hotel.
Oh
You
yeah,
see,
the mantra. Yeah.
Mondrian. And one time somebody said, hey, I heard you love Little Richard, right? You grew up with Little Richard. And I said, yes, because I said it in an interview.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, yes. And I said, you know that he's living right across the street from you in this. It used to be the Hyatt Hotel. Now it's something else. And I
Yeah.
said, really? And they said, yes, he's right, like on top, like, and the penthouse, he's living there. And he said, why don't you go over and, like maybe ask for an autograph? And I said, oh my God. So every day I woke up before I went to the studio with Gene Simmons and all the other great guys. I said, maybe I go over and I knock on little Richard's door and I say, hey, I'm Doro. You are the reason why I'm here, why I'm, doing music. And then every day I said, no, not today because I don't want to invade his privacy. So every day, and then the record was done. The record was over, and I never went to Little Richard because I thought, man, I don't want to get on his nerves,
Yeah.
for a photo or autograph. But he was living right across the street, and that made me feel so good. And
That's awesome. Well, you have a new record that is coming out, and it's called Warriors of the Sea.
yes,
The A side is some rare cuts that I think the fans are going to be super interested in. And the other side of it is those are
all, all
live recordings from 24 and 25 when you were on tour.
yes, yes, and it's a picture disc, it's a CD as well, but it's a picture disc. That's the cover, and the picture disc. I think they're just printing it up, but I got something really special. It's the limited edition
Yeah, the
of
the
this
liquid filled disc.
liquid
Yes.
vinyl, and there's blue curacao in it.
Yeah, it's blue curacao. What the heck? That's awesome.
Yeah, because we did this metal queen metal cruise. That was the name, my
Yep.
first cruise. And then I wrote the song Warriors of the Sea for the cruise. Then we played it live many times. We did the video. It came out pretty nice, the video. Check it out. And yeah, and then I thought maybe a little single would be nice, like to have like vinyl. And then we said maybe we put like a maxi single. And then we said, how about we do a little album? And then that came out like as a
Okay,
liquid
so
film.
hold that
And
up. Let me see that. So inside is the liquid blue curacao. That
yes,
how freaking cool is that?
yes. And when you have it on your record player, then it's like, makes like these nice things.
You need
Yes,
you need Pink Floyd to appreciate the shapes.
yes. I'm a sucker for vinyl, like, like cool stuff. So we never did it before. It's expensive because it's all handmade. You have to, it's all made by hand.
Sure.
Yeah, something special. And for for the die-hard collectors, I think that might be something really nice. But you can have a picture this as well. And oh, the battery is almost done.
All
Oh,
right.
Mark,
So I'll wrap up very quickly. So Doro, wow. What an amazing time for you to come spend with us and our audience. I deeply appreciate you coming to visit us. I hope that there's another opportunity for you to come back. I want everybody to make sure that they're going to go check out the vinyl options. Also,
yes,
you have a third um,
a cruise
Metal
coming.
Queen Metal Cruises. You've got
Yeah,
another one that's coming up in 26 that people can
yeah.
sign up for.
Yeah, June 6th. It's in Germany. It's in Cologne. It's on the Rhine River, and it will be so much fun. We play a totally different set list, and it will be kind of like a pirate ghost ship vibe. And we're already planning, great things for it. So if people want to take a trip to Germany, we're planning it for America as well. But yeah, that's in the making. I don't know exactly when. I can't tell you a date, but there's good things in the making, and festivals for the States as well. So
Amazing.
Heroes, that's confirmed next year, but everything else is just as we speak. People are
Well, there you have it. Doro, the Metal Queen, in all of her majesty. Thank you very much for spending time with us. I wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll see
thank
you again
you.
very soon.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. I love you. Lots of love and power, and keep on rocking, stay metal, and I'll see you hopefully very soon. And yeah, all the very best.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Mark.